Thank you so much for coming back to Turkey again. It's always a pleasure to see you. And I know for a fact that I've been in contact with you for maybe over 6-7 years now. And I was fortunate enough to visit you in Italy as well. And you've been a great host. So I hope I can return the favor in the next maybe 20 minutes. It happened in such a way that we are very interested in the concept of your school. So if I may, I want to start with this. But before then, I just would like to tell you a little story that I heard about 3 weeks ago from one of the ex-CEOs of one of the top Turkish banks in Turkey. And he told me a story about some government officials asked him to spend some time and money to find out what would be the most crucial factor in giving advantage to the Turkish people and the Turkish Republic as a whole. So he went away, spent a lot of money, a lot of time, and after about 3 months, the people that he hired came back to him and said, we have this presentation ready. If we want, we can show you maybe in the next 2 hours, but we can just summarize it with just one little sentence. He said, create leaders. This would be the solution for a success of a nation. So immediately when I heard this story, I wanted to write to you and invite you to this program.
Thank you.
So I know that you have wisdom and experience in this field. So without further ado, I leave it up to you to talk about first your school and the thought behind it.
Yes. Yes, as all my activities, I created something that was very special. You know, it's in the field of education, in the education world. You know, I wanted to create something that was unconventional. You know, and then a special education, which is a process, an inside-out process, was necessary. You know, we are used to learn through teachers and professors and leaders, and believing that we can learn from outside, from knowledge coming from outside, and that is, in my opinion, it is a failure, because you cannot teach how to be a leader. You can teach how to eliminate whatever is impeding you to be a leader. Then leadership is not something to achieve. It's something that you have to remember in yourself. And I believe that each human being has got inside himself the qualities and the capacities to be a leader. But you have to eliminate layers and layers of unnecessary things that we have been taught by teachers, universities, schools, and the environment, and parents. And we have to forget about these things, because something original, unique, can come out of any student or a person who wants really to be a protagonist in life. And the European School of Economics creates leaders, but that is just a reminding. You are the one who creates your own reality. You are projecting your own reality. You are not entering into something that is a separate reality. It is your own reality projected from your inner being. Then inner states and outer events are one and the same thing. If you want to change the world outside yourself, you have to intervene on your inner states, and you will see that the reality outside yourself will follow.
You make it sound so easy.
It is. It is easy, but difficult to apply.
So in your school, what's the methodology that you use to help them apply this?
Yeah, the first thing we ask to the student is to tell us his dream. which is your dream? This is the first question. And he comes out that he loves Ferrari, he loves whatever fashion, and he loves to travel, to play video games, whatever. It's you have to tell me which is something that you really love profoundly, and that tell you. And we do everything we can to direct the student towards his own dream, the realization of his own dream. Then it's very easy. If you love to work in a Ferrari company, you have just to say it, and we introduce you to the Ferrari, and the Ferrari will recognize you as someone who belongs to that company. This is very easy, but no school or university can do this, because we are a school for few people. We know their story, we know their families, we know name, surname, and everything, that you can direct them towards something that no other school can do it.
You are unique in that sense.
We are unique, but the unique, it's a very simple thing, because you are just following the something that belongs to the students, and it's innate in the student.
How many years now? When was it first established?
It was in 1994 in Rome first, and then in London, and then I created something like 12 universities just in Italy and 5 abroad. And it was a great success. It was so great that I had also, the Italian state that was not so happy about it, and we had to discuss it.
Yes, well, sometimes disturbance is a good sign.
Yeah, it is a good. It is important when your idea is great. You, competitor or antagonist, I call them the antagonist, is ready to come, and the antagonist measure your idea. And if it is a great idea, the antagonist is ferocious, is really aggressive, and that you understand that your idea was valid and successful.
Well, before this interview, I had in my mind many questions, but because of the flow of this conversation, we are just rewriting the book. So we will go along as the time surpasses. But the question that I was in my mind while listening to you, so maybe it's time to bring the school to Turkey. Did you have any plans like this?
Oh, I had a plan like this, but it's I don't know. I had also some very important families in this country who wanted the school. But I think that something in the country happened. So probably the currency went down, and but I am looking always for people of goodwill that can really understand that a school like the European School of Economics is needed in this country. If you want really to more than educate, to really let the people come out with their own dreams and do not suffocate it. This is very, very important. Then I think that this country is a country of dreamers, and we have to let them to come out with their full potential.
Well, I personally have great faith in that as well.
Yeah, it
I've
is.
always been a passionate advocate of this. And one of the reasons that I have volunteered to do this program, so let me just jump to what I believe was a fruit of your book from the first days that I have read it. We all start the day with goodwill and good intentions and a desire to change ourselves. We all would like to be a dreamer, as you called, and change the world and reach our goals. But at the end of the day, most of us come across barricades or dependency issues, and that stops these wonderful dreams becoming true, or at least delaying them. So I think for the benefit of the country, each country, it's really important that to understand that dependency is not really a good thing and it should go far, far away from it. And I know that you have an in-depth answer to that question. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes. You know, schools and the universities educated us, you know, to depend upon, you know, the world outside ourselves, and this is not right. You know, we have to understand that the world outside ourselves is just a projection. It's not the world of causes. We forgot, we completely neglected the inner world, which is not the spiritual world. It's a world of causes, the world where you dream, where you got ideas, where you have feelings and emotions and thoughts. This is what I call the invisible world. The invisible world is the world of causes, and the world outside ourselves is just a projection. If you identify with the projection, you can never move a needle. You cannot change anything. But if you intervene in your own being, you will see that your inner states, which create the outer events, will change, will be transformed, and you will see the reality outside yourself to follow. Then this is the secret that the European School of Economics has got. And which is, you know, you have to start with your inner states to understand that events, states and events are one and the same thing. Vision and reality are one and the same thing. Your dream and your life is one and the same thing. If you understand this, then the gap, which is time between vision and reality, will disappear. And whatever you are desiring or dreaming happens right now. Then to really realize something that is almost impossible, you have to eliminate time between you, yourself, and the world. And you will see that the world will follow your inner states, your inner vision, and this is very simple to do it. But we have been taught that the world outside ourselves, which we identify with, is the world of causes. And then we do everything we can to follow something that is almost obsolete, old. And we fall in a sort of self-created prison. You have to turn towards yourself and see that you are the creator and the dreamer and the doer of whatever is happening outside yourself. It's difficult to understand that whatever is happening outside yourself has to have your inner consent to happen, has to have your inner approval to happen. Nothing can happen without your inner approval. This is very interesting to understand. You have to incarnate this principle. When you understand that you yourself are the real author of whatever is happening outside yourself, then you know where to intervene. And when this is the principle of my books, is the slightest change in your inner being moves mountains in the world of events. Then you see how states are the world of causes, and events are just following. They are just a mirror of your inner states. Then this is good, to understand for entrepreneurs and businessmen. I've seen many people falling in bankruptcy, very rich people. Just in one day they were very poor. Just because identifying with the outer world is a disaster. You have to turn towards yourself and see that if there is a fear, there is a doubt, there is worries and anxieties or something, you have to touch, you have to chase that, you have to get closer and closer to your fear, to understand that fear is non-existent. If you run away from fear, you create disaster in your organization, in your life. Then I've seen people killing themselves just because for an attack or something coming from the outer world, they just ruin them. They failed to understand that that was an opportunity. The most disastrous event can be the greatest opportunity for you. Then you have to understand, you have to be taught and educated to understand that the antagonist is something that is for you, is promoting you and loves you much more than you can love yourself. Then the antagonist is necessary, and without the antagonist we are nothing.
It's so good to refresh my memories.
But your memory is now. You see that you are a very successful man. This means that you are successful within yourself. Otherwise, you cannot succeed in the outer world.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask you, maybe it's probably going to make some of my Chinese friends upset, but when you talk about businessmen, you are also talking about nations. I mean, sometimes a nation like China, only about 2 months ago, were like at the top of the mountains, and today suddenly they're facing all sorts of problems. Do you believe that this is applicable for nations at that scale as well?
Of course, of course. I mean, you see, you cannot separate yourself from countries, nation, your country or the other country. You have to understand that the world is your movie set. Whatever is happening within yourself, you can. For example, I don't see any crisis in China, but apparently, there is a sort of calamity is happening, and you see that it's expanding also in Italy and some other country with this ghost that is the coronavirus. It's just a media invention, just because the economy can move and can transform, but it is all media lies, I call.
But media is a very powerful tool, of course, to hypnotize people who are.
That is the right word, But a man of integrity cannot be hypnotized by media, lies and fake news. They are all fake news. You have to turn towards yourself and see yourself intact, and that the world goes in the right way.
I don't know if this interview is going the way you planned it or you haven't planned anything, but for me it's just going like I'm sitting at the corner of my house and speaking to an old friend. So I hope you will forgive me for sometimes just speaking out my mind instantly. But I just remembered this right now. This morning I realized that I didn't tell my wife that I was meeting you today here. So this morning at breakfast I told her that I'm going to meet Elio and have him interviewed for Ekoturk. And what do you think I should ask him? And she said, there's only one question that you can ask. Only one question. What's the purpose of your life? You ask this to everybody, so I'm asking you. What's the purpose of Elio Danna's life?
But I tell you that to say I have a purpose, it means to deal with time. And then it's like
your dream in your terminology,
your desires, of course. And it's the target is here. You have to hit the target, and you should never move yourself from this very moment.
Wow.
Then your target is right now, and if you keep it always this instant present in yourself, you will have a successful life and a victory in all battles that you are going to fight.
precious advice.
And I know that
It's called the economy of happiness. So would you like to give a little bit insight of what topics you'll be talking about without spoiling it, of course, to the people who will attend?
Yes. Happiness is something that all humanity is trying to reach, to achieve, and it is something that nobody finds. This is the same problem. You know, we are trying to be happy outside ourselves and believing that there is a sort of dimension that can allow you to be happy. But you know, you will be searching around and you will never find. You can make money, you can be successful, but happiness never comes to you. Just because, you know, you can possess only what you are responsible for. Then responsibility is an inner matter. It's not an outer matter. You can have thousands of people working for you and be irresponsible. And sooner or later you will lose everything. Mm. Then you cannot be rich or to be responsible or to be happy outside yourself. Because by chance you cannot have happiness or money or whatever, because by chance you will lose everything. You can possess only what you are responsible when you are in charge of yourself, when you are owner of your feelings, emotions, owner of your inner invisibility. Then you see that the visible world will reflect and respect your inner world. Then that is where we should concentrate and focus on. You know, your inner world is the world of causes and the world that makes you happy and free, and prosperity can come. But this is, you know, happiness is not something that you can find outside yourself, and it cannot be something that can last forever. You have to meet within yourself all the fears and doubts and the difficulties, just to understand that they are something that you can turn in something that can make you really happy and wealthy and healthy, of course. Yeah.
Elio, it's been like water. So
yeah,
fast.
Thank you.
I did run out of time, but I have to ask you, the next time you come here, we have to continue this. It's been a great pleasure.
I'd like to launch a suggestion to your people, to your audience, to say if there is someone or some that really wants that something can be changed in this country, you know, it's to contact me, to contact you, and to have the European School of Economics in this country as another center that you know that we are in the States, in London, in Madrid, in Italy, and I'd like to have it in this
I'll
country.
be your number one
Turkey.
advocate, I promise. Sevgili Ekoturk izleyicileri, bu programın sonuna geldik. Bir sonraki programda görüşmek üzere. Hoşça kalın.